Shout out to our sponsor, Movement Watches. Skip the gift-giving anxiety this year and give the gift of time. Watches start at just $95 and you can get 15% off with free shipping and free returns at mvmt.com/theknow. Welcome to The Know, I'm Ashley. It's a new week. We've got a whole bunch of news, so let's get started. With the Game Awards coming up later this week, we're starting to get more confirmations about who and what we might be able to expect from the show. One of the big RSVPs from the weekend was none other than Hideo Kojima, who will be at the ceremony to present an award, and I don't know, maybe something else? Given the bromance between Kojima and Keighley, this isn't too much of a surprise, but it's really nice to know we can look forward to it. In addition to Kojima's presence, Guillermo del Toro is also confirmed, along with Norman Reedus. So, if I were a betting man, I would say that we're probably gonna see something Death Stranding related, right? It feels like a guarantee. Plus, we've also heard that Microsoft could finally be announcing the release date of Sea of Thieves, and when you add that to all the rumors about a Nintendo reveal, sounds like it could be a very eventful evening. Speaking of Nintendo, recently discovered job postings point to a new project in development from the Kyoto team, which is also where development is done on Zelda and Splatoon titles. The new position is for a 3D action-adventure game planner to help design dungeons and game events. Doesn't sound too much like the Splatoon we know, so it's possible this is either for a new Zelda title in development to follow up Breath of the Wild, could be some additional content they haven't announced for Breath of the Wild yet, or we're looking at a brand new IP altogether. Either way, not very likely we're gonna know anything about this new game anytime soon. It's probably not coming at the Game Awards, but it's something to keep in mind and be excited about. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 topped out the last of the major holiday releases last week, but unfortunately for Nintendo, doesn't look like the RPG broke the top 10 retail games in the UK in terms of sales. This information, as always, comes from GfK Chart Track and GamesIndustry.biz, who say it didn't make the top 10 games and almost didn't make the top 20. It ended up finishing at spot 19. However, that is still 9 spots better than predecessor Xenoblade Chronicles X or Cross, however you want to call it. In other top 10 news, Call of Duty World War II has held onto its #1 spot for the 5th week in a row, so people still love that franchise, regardless of what you hear online. And rather interestingly, Gran Turismo Sport has surged back after a tepid launch in October to quietly become one of the top-selling PS4 exclusives in the UK in 2017. In fact, Chart Track notes that it's only a few weeks away from surpassing Crash Bandicoot and Horizon Zero Dawn to become the biggest PS4 exclusive in the territory, which is huge. Those games both did very, very well. Remember when Crash Bandicoot came out? Pretty much every week it was dominating the charts, so it takes a lot to beat that. Good news, Jak and Daxter fans, though not just the Crash Bandicoot fans, we got some news for the Jak and Daxter fans too, like myself. PlayStation just announced that in addition to the first game, they're adding the rest of the classic series digitally to PS4 next week. We can play them again, except we don't have to dig out our old consoles. In a new blog post, the company announced that Jak 2, Jak 3, and Jak X Combat Racing will all be landing on the PlayStation Store December 6th. That's 2 days away, bringing you classic gaming goodness just in time for the holidays. PlayStation wrote, "The narrative tropes Naughty Dog explored in Jak and Daxter laid the foundation for the evolution of their highly innovative storytelling. It put them on the path that led to the creation of future blockbuster franchises like Uncharted and The Last of Us. And to think it all started with giving Jak his own voice." Alright, so I agree that all that's really great. When you can pick the franchise back up, guys? Come on! I know you're really busy, you got The Last of Us 2 and you could be all like getting gritty and stuff, but when you finished with that, just consider the Jak. And the Most Creative Streamer of 2017 award goes to the dude who managed to illegally stream an entire UFC pay-per-view over the weekend by pretending he was playing a UFC video game, which is amazing. Illegal, totally illegal, but amazing. Oh, you have to give some kind of props where they're due, people, little snaps. The streamer, AJ Lester, broadcasted this weekend's UFC 218 fight between Jose Aldo and Max Holloway, all while holding a controller. Clips from the stream went viral thanks to it, being hilarious. Illegal, but hilarious. So far, he says he hasn't been contacted by any authorities regarding the stream, but who knows? He could end up with a UFC 3 sponsorship. Could a highly anticipated streaming app for PC also be coming to the Switch? The developers of the Rainway app say they've had talks with Nintendo about that topic, and it sounds promising. You might remember that they recently showed off Cuphead being streamed to the Switch, and a recent Discord post from Rainway says Nintendo has neither confirmed or denied Rainway on the Switch, but talks have been going and things are working out well. The app, which allows 60 FPS PC game streaming, is scheduled to release on Android and the web on January 20th. No word on if any potential Switch port would be close to that date, so it could be a while, but interesting to note nevertheless. It looks like the end may be in sight for DayZ. Everyone's favorite early access zombie outbreak game that no one is still playing will finally release next year. That's according to the lead producer, Eugene Harton, who wrote on the official site that there won't be any new beta release this month. The next beta release, version 0.63, will release next year and it will feature new crafting, AI improvements, and more. Now, if you're wondering, the game was released via early access way back in 2013, which is that a record for time spent in early access? Has Minecraft got that beat? No, Minecraft was like 2009 to 2011. No, it doesn't. So this has definitely got it beat. Since then, it's been a bit of a saga, but Harton said they're still committed to bringing it to Xbox next year. Harton addressed the long wait, writing, "2018 is going to be an important year for us in the studio as our long-term work finally makes its way out there. We sure take our time, but I truly believe that people only remember great games and not how long it took to make them." He's right, unless they don't remember them by the time they come out. One of the worst games ever made, or the best, depending on how much of a masochist you are, is now coming to VR. Yes, Desert Bus VR is now a thing, and it puts you in the driver's seat of a very long real-time drive from Tucson, Arizona to Las Vegas, Nevada. If you remember, the first Desert Bus was a mini-game included in the Sega CD game Penn and Teller Smoke and Mirrors, which was never released, but it eventually leaked online. The game is an exercise in frustration. You can't go more than 45 miles per hour, which is a special kind of hell. There's no pausing, the trip takes 8 hours, and the bus has an alignment issue, so you constantly have to steer. And if you crash, a towing service takes you back to the start in real time. The VR version was made by Dinosaur Games and published by Gearbox for some reason, and it's now free to play on Steam. There are even some new features like a radio program where you can listen to Penn Jillette help stave off boredom. As of right now, the game has a very positive review rating, so take that, Battlefront 2. Should have added a bus. The super cyberpunk noir sci-fi novel Altered Carbon, one of my favorite books of all time, is being adapted by Netflix. It's just got its first trailer. Netflix debuted the first look at the series along with a release date. It stars actor Joel Kinnaman, who you might know as Will Conway in House of Cards, playing Takeshi Kovacs, the body-hopping private investigator out to solve a pretty bizarre body-hopping murder. Seriously, if you've never read it, it is absolutely bonkers. It's full of all the cyberpunk tropes you know and love, and it just takes that knob and turns it up to 11. It's a wild ride. If you hate books and you don't want to do words good, then the series will be hitting on February 2nd, so you know where I will be that day. I will probably not be here. I'm so excited for this. God, I hope it's good. Okay. We're gonna get a proper trailer for Jurassic World 2 on Thursday, but just to whet our appetites, we did get a 15-second teaser of the upcoming movie that's officially called Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. In the teaser, we see Chris Pratt yelling at everyone to run from a stampede of dinosaurs as a volcano, I think maybe possibly, erupts in the background. Oh, and Bryce Dallas Howard is there too, as well as Justice Smith, and they look scared, so par for the course. The movie is scheduled for release in the US on June 22nd of next year. The trailer is probably going to be a lot of fun. The last one was a lot of fun too. All right, here's a cool anniversary. 23 years ago, the PlayStation was released in Japan. Okay, 23 years ago as of Sunday. Give us a break. We were off for the day. It was a Sunday. Yes, on December 3rd, 1994, the very first PlayStation released in Japan, where it was instantly a success and sold more than 2 million units in the first 6 months. Of course, you might remember that the console was initially a partnership between Sony and Nintendo to develop a CD-based gaming system, but after that collaboration fell apart, Sony released it themselves. PlayStation wouldn't come out for another 9 months in the States and Europe, but it did extremely well over here in the West too. It would go on to ship 100 million million units, which at the time was a record. So happy belated birthday, PlayStation! We forgot to get you a gift, but you give us so many. Thanks. All right, that's the news for this roundup. Let us know what you think of all these updates in the comments down below to make sure you get news from every corner of the internet every weekday. Again, not on Sundays. Make sure you like this video. If you're new to this channel, subscribe to the know. Thanks to Movement Watches for sponsoring this update. Now that Thanksgiving is over and it's time to panic about shopping for gifts, well, here's a thought. Skip the panic, get someone a gift that's gonna last for years and years and years that they'll use all the time, a Movement Watch. Watches start at just $95, but they look like you splurged $400 or $500. Movement figured that by selling online, they could skip retail markups and middlemen and offer the best possible price. The watches all have a really clean design that make a great fashion statement, plus you can get multiple bands, so whoever you give this watch to can update it for new looks and keep it with them for years, and it can match every outfit. It's great. And every time they check the time, they'll think of you. That's sweet, right? Now step up your watch game or help someone you love step up theirs and get 15% off with free shipping and free returns at mvmt.com/theknow.